welcome to probably the most important chapter in Bruiser'S playbook, and that is open chords and the 3-chord theory. So let's get ready. So the first goal of anyone wanting to play songs is to build up a chord vocabulary. The chords we will be starting with will be E major, the E7 chord, an E minor chord, and then an A major chord, and then an A7 chord, and then an A minor chord, D chord, a D7 chord, and then a D minor chord, and then a C chord, and then a C7 chord, and now a G chord, G major, a G7 chord, a B7 chord, and then finally an F. So, putting it simply, a chord is made up of 3 individual tones as a minimum. These chords have 3 tones and some of them have 4. And basically what we have is a major chord, and this is a minor. There's 1 note difference, and that's the 3rd. See, the 3rd flattens, and you get that melancholy, typical minor sound. And then we have our 7th. This is our chord with the added note. So, major, minor, and 7th. And do the same thing, A major, A minor, and then A7. Okay, so what I urge you to do now, or at some point, is to take some time, put 15 of these grids together, which if you take a look, this is your standard chord diagram and what everything means. Make a page of 15 of these, and using a chord dictionary or stopping this video or whatever, and write these 15 chords out as I have here with this E major chord. It will greatly help you. Okay, now the real fun begins once we start getting used to our chords. And believe me, if you're new to this, it's not going to be. So it's going to take some time to get the notes to ring out and avoid hitting the notes that you don't want to hit. And your fingers are going to hurt and hate you for it. Trust me. Especially on an acoustic guitar like this one. So, in any case, the 3-chord theory. Once we are comfortable playing our 15 chords, and we're going to just stick to those right now, you'll find, different combinations work better than others. So, here's how that works. In any key, there are 3 primary chords that appear in every pretty much basic chord progression. These are known as the 1, 4, and 5 chords. And let's say we're in the key of C. We use the key of C because C has no sharps and flats, and it's just the beginning of. Alright, so our first note in C is C. So we play the chord from that note. C. So we count up from C. C is the first note. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 leads us to F. So that's our 4 chord. And then one note up from that, that's 5, and that's G. So 1, 4, and 5. And then back to R1. So, the 1 chord is that's your tonic chord. That's your home chord right there. The 4 chord, our F, that's our subdominant chord. That gives us the feeling of taking us away from our home. And then we have as the 5 chord as our dominant chord. And you can hear how it wants to go back to, right? So here we go. We're going to hear this with a slow count in the metronome, just so you can hear what it sounds like. So, without getting into theory at all, really, at least in depth, we're just going to take a look at some of the most common keys. using these chords here. And we'll move to the key of G, and G is our 1, G major, C is our 4, and D7 is our 5, going back to G. Alright, so in the key of D, taking a look at the key of D, D is our 1, G is our 4, and A7 is our 5, and then back to our 1D. So far, our 5 chord has been dominant and almost always will be in these kind of progressions, if not major. However, our 1 chord can be minor, so we can start in the key of D on D minor, and then go to our 4G, and then our 5 chord, our A7, and then back to So let's hear what that sounds like together. Now, as we might also see, sometimes the 4 chord is dominant as well. So, start with our 1 chord D minor, and then we'll go to our 4 G7, and then to our 5 the A7, and then back to D minor. Okay, so, alright, now, in the key of A, we have A as our 1, D as our 4, E7 as our 5, back to A. And then we can do the A minor, D7, E7, A minor, like this. And then of course the 4 chord could be minor. So let's face it, who hasn't heard that before? Alright, so, in the key of E. In the key of E we have E as our tonic, A major is our 4, and you may start to recognize this as something similar to what I was doing in the beginning. B7 as our 5, back to E. And we can start with E minor. Our 4 chords, 7 now. And our 5 chord, with B7. So, and of course the 4 can be minor. 5, B7, and then back to E minor. Now we're going to talk about the blues. So we're going to take a look at a blues chord progression, simply because the blues is nearly all based on the 3-chord idea. The blues forms the basis of popular music, jazz, and rock, and just about anything you can possibly imagine. So, the most basic form is the 12-bar blues. So we're gonna do this in we'll do this in E. We'll use these chords right here. We're gonna use E major, and then A major for our 4, and then for our 5 chord we're gonna use our B7. Okay, so we're gonna play the 1 chord for 4 bars, right? So and then the 4 chord for 2 bars, back to the 1 chord for 2 bars, and then the 5 chord for 1 bar, back to our 4, to our 1 for 1 bar, and then finally our 5 chord for 1 bar. Okay, we're going to take a listen to what that all sounds like together with some drums behind it. So here we go. Just using a regular strum. Now to the 4. Back to 1. To 5. 4. 1. 5. And then again. Okay, so here's what you do now, is to use the blues format and plug in chords from other keys to see how they work together. It doesn't have to be strict or anything, but that's what you need to do with all these other keys, and you'll find the world of music simplified for you in a great degree. So, until next time, this is Bruiser signing off.